Hi, I'm Annika from iDoc, and in this video I'll show you how you can easily repair the broken lightning connector of your iPhone 13. Replacing the lightning connector is the most complex repair of the iPhone 13, since many components have to be removed. Allow about 90 to 120 minutes for the repair. You will need the following tools. In addition, these tools can be helpful. You can find a lightning connector for your iPhone 13 as well as all tools for this repair in our online store at idoc.eu/en. We've put the links in the info box. First, switch off your iPhone 13 to avoid a potential short circuit during the repair. To do so, press and hold the side and volume down keys simultaneously for a few seconds. Swipe the power off slider from left to right. Your phone will now shut down within a few seconds. Start with removing the SIM tray. Use a SIM tool to press it into the small hole in the SIM tray. Then pull it out of the case frame. The iPhone 13 is opened via the screen. To be able to detach it, you first have to unscrew the two pentalip screws left and right of the lightning connector. Then, use a heat gun or a hairdryer to evenly heat up the heavily glued screen edge for a few minutes. Heat up especially the area where you want to start with the opening. We recommend starting at the lower edge of the screen. Note that the specified IP certification expires after opening your iPhone. Once the glue has warmed up sufficiently, you can attach a suction cup to the bottom edge of the screen. Then grab a flat plastic tool, such as a plastic pick. Now pull the suction cup firmly upwards to create a narrow gap between the screen and the case unit. At the same time, insert the flat pick into the gap to enlarge it. Since the screen is embedded very deeply in the case frame, this might require some skill and patience. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't work right away. If you have difficulties with the plastic pick, we can recommend the very narrow and sharp-edged iFlex as an alternative for the first insertion. To avoid scratching the metal frame of your iPhone with the iFlex, you should switch back to a plastic tool like the iPlastics or the pick as soon as possible. Once the beginning has been made, you can easily run your tool around the edge of the screen piece by piece. At the same time, press it up a bit so that you can hear and feel the screen detach from the case's edge. If necessary, keep warming the screen's edge in between. Once the screen is completely detached, you can carefully open it towards the volume keys. The screen cables are still connected. To avoid overstretching them when detaching the screen, it is best to lean the screen against a stable object until you have disconnected the cables. The screen connectors are lying protected under cover plates. To separate them from the logic board, you have to first unscrew these plates. Carefully remove them from the device with a pair of tweezers. Especially for an iPhone repair, we recommend using a magnetic pad to avoid losing small screws and components. To prevent a potential short circuit, you should first disconnect the exposed battery connector. To do so, carefully drive a spatula underneath it and lever it off the motherboard. Proceed the same way to separate the two screen connectors. Put the completely detached screen to the side. Remove the speaker. Therefore, loosen its 4 Phillips screws. Since it is not glued, you can simply take it out of the device afterwards. Continue with the Taptic engine. First, remove the cover plate above its connector. Loosen the 2 Phillips screws for that. Then put the removed cover plate aside. Now separate the connector of the Taptic engine. It is slightly recessed, which makes it a bit more difficult to separate than the other connectors. Loosen the single Phillips screw that holds the Taptic engine in place. You can then simply remove it from the device. Also, the SIM module has to be removed. First, separate its connector from the motherboard. Then loosen the 3 screws that fix the module in the case. After that, you can remove the detached module from your device and put it aside. Now remove the motherboard. Separate all connectors on it. There are 11 connectors in total. Some of the connectors are lying underneath each other. Once all connectors are separated, loosen the 3 screws that secure the board in the case. As soon as the board is completely detached, you can take it out of your device. Be careful not to damage any connectors. Now the lightning connector is exposed and you can remove it. First, remove the cover plate above the barometric vent by unscrewing the single Phillips screw. Then put the removed plate aside. In the next step, lever the vent cap as well as the small golden microphone out of its guide with a pair of tweezers. Loosen the 2 standoff screws that secure the barometric vent. Then take the detached vent out of the device. It is slightly stuck to the edge of the case frame. Now loosen all remaining screws. Start with the 2 standoff screws. Continue with the 4 Phillips screws in the case frame. Make sure that the screwdriver is properly seated, so that you don't accidentally round the screws. Finally, loosen the single Phillips screw on the lower left edge of the case. Once all screws are removed, you can start heating up the heavily glued cable of the lightning connector. This will make it easier to detach it from the bottom of the case unit. Run a steel spatula underneath the cable and detach it from the case bottom piece by piece. Then carefully detach the lightning jack and the remaining sensors from the case frame. Put the completely detached lightning connector aside. You can find a lightning connector for the iPhone 13, as well as all tools from this repair video, in our online store at idoc.eu/en. Insert the new lightning connector into your iPhone 13 and press it firmly. The glue left on the bottom of the case unit should be enough to securely reattach it. Then press the lightning jack as well as the sensors back into their guides on the case frame. They all have to sit level so that the following components can be inserted properly. For the small metal loops, you can additionally check if they can be hooked somewhere. Now screw the lightning connector back in place. Start with the Phillips screws. Continue with the 2 standoff screws. Then press the barometric vent back into the edge of the case. Secure it with the 2 standoff screws. Subsequently, press the vent cap and the golden microphone back into their guides. Finally, put the cover plate back on the barometric vent and fix it with the remaining Phillips screw. Put the motherboard back into the device. Hold the connectors aside with a pair of tweezers, so that you don't accidentally pinch or damage them during insertion. If the board is seated correctly, fix it with 3 screws. Then reattach all connectors. Be especially careful when attaching connectors, and never press them down with force. A damaged connector can lead to the failure of an entire component. Continue with the SIM module. Fix it with 3 screws. Then attach its connector to the motherboard. Do not attach the battery connector at this point to avoid a potential short circuit. Now put the Taptic engine into your device and fix it with a Phillips screw. Press its connector down again. Then put the cover plate back on the connector and screw it in place. Doing so, it is best to fix it with a pair of tweezers so that it doesn't move. Finally, put back the speaker in the case unit and screw it in place. If the adhesive frame on the edge of the case is still in good condition, you can simply reuse it. Otherwise, you should apply a new one before closing your iPhone again. To do so, first heat it up so that it can be loosened more easily. Then carefully pull it off the edge of the case with a pair of tweezers. Align the new adhesive frame with the case. Its shape will help you. Now remove the carrier film and carefully press the frame along the edge. You can use a spatula, for example, to help you do this. If the adhesive frame is correctly seated, remove the protective film. The remaining protective film directly above the edge of the case should only be removed shortly before final closing. At this point, we recommend that you first connect the screen provisionally in order to test the new Lightning connector. To do so, press the screen connectors tightly onto the motherboard. Then attach the battery connector as well. You should always attach it last to prevent a short circuit. Carefully fold the screen around and connect a charging cable to see if the Lightning connector works. Test other basic functions with the help of our checklist to make sure that your repair was successful. We link it to you in the info box. If something does not work properly, check again if all components are connected and screwed correctly. If everything is okay, you can continue by placing back the cover plates over battery and screen connectors. Screw them in place. Doing so, it is best to fix them with a pair of tweezers, so that they don't move. At the end of the repair, you can finally close your iPhone 13 again. Don't forget to remove the protective film from the case frame. Once it's removed, fold the screen around and carefully press it into the case unit. It has to sit evenly everywhere. Finally, heat the edge of the screen again so that the adhesive frame bonds properly. You can also weigh down your iPhone for a few minutes, for example with a few books. Finally, reinsert the SIM tray by pushing it back into the case frame. Make sure to insert it the right way around. You should hear and feel it click into place. You've done it! The lightning connector of your iPhone 13 is now replaced. I hope your lightning connector is now working properly again. If this tutorial helped you, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. See you next time! You can find high-quality tools, spare parts and accessories for your smartphone repair in our store. iDoc. Everything for your smartphone. Find more repair guides for your iPhone 13 here.